Alrighty guys, welcome to our third review video here. Let's get the show on the road. Starting off right away, I've started off with review questions. All four of these are review problems. We got 2 questions of substitution and 2 questions of adding like terms. So the first question, it says x equals -6 and z equals 3. We're going to go ahead and replace all of our z's with 3's and all of our x's with -6. Not too big a deal so far. We just went ahead and replaced all these z's here, all became 3's, and that x became a -6. Let's go ahead and simplify the best we can using our PEMDAS, parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. 3 minus 3, we have to do that on top because there's this invisible parentheses. We get 0 over 6. Please note, 0 divided by 6 is 0, and if you don't, you're not certain, you can always check it on your calculator, you get 0. Anyways, 0 over 6 is 0, so 3 minus 18. Use your calculator if needed, but you get -15 as your answer. Let's continue on. Not too big a deal. Now we're going to go ahead and replace every single thing that we can. So this first b becomes -4. That first c there becomes a 2 minus, and we got a -4 over 4. Remember, a lot of people want to distribute here, but you don't want to do that. You want to make the inside of the parentheses first. Deal with that guy first. So the inside of the parentheses here, -4 plus 2 minus -4 over 4. -4 divided by 4 is, in fact, -1. I wrote this too big and I'm going to run out of room, so I'm going to have to go off to the side here. This is not good practice, but that's what I'm doing. So let's go ahead and do this. We can do this stuff on the inside of the parentheses here, and we just figured out that -4 over 4 is -1. So we can write -1. That's from right here. That's this -1 that's going right there. And -4 plus 2, that's -2, minus -1. So -4 plus 2 is -2, minus -1 means +1, and -1 multiplied by -1, that's what -2 plus 1 is, you get +1. A little bit of an obnoxious question. Please note, you can always check your work. Let's review how to check your work on the calculator. You always need to show at least one step of work, but if you've shown at least one step of work, we can do that. So, first, we're going to need to get a fraction in our calculator. So we're going to go and hit alpha, y equals, and then enter. So we hit the green alpha, y equals, alpha, and then y equals, and then enter. We're going to type in -4 over 4. Note how I use the small negative sign because I had to make a number negative. And then we're going to go ahead and start our parentheses. And then we got -4, same small negative sign, plus 2. Now I'm going to use the big negative sign, because I'm subtracting something. I need another fraction, alpha y equals, enter. And then we need to type in our -4 divided by 4, and those parentheses, hit enter, and sure enough, we get 1. Please note, you still have to show one step of work. The next question here, simplify each expression. It wants us to distribute and then add like terms. So we're using our distributive property that 5 goes to each, and we're going to have 5 minus 45x, and then we have -56x, and another positive 56. Again, we did 7 times -8 to get there, 7 times positive 8 to get there. Now we add like terms. We have 45 and 56. Students seem hesitant to use the calculator, so you know what? I'm just going to use the calculator. -45 minus 56, boom, tells us what this is, -101. -101x. After that, we have 5 plus 56. That's 61. Easy enough. Let's do this next problem. Same exact thing. -7 times 9x is -63x. We have -7 times 10. That's -70. We have negative 2 times negative 4x, that's positive 8x. We have negative 2 times 9 is negative 18. After that, we need to add like terms again. Negative 63 and positive 8 is negative 55x. And negative 70 minus 18, that's negative 88. All done. Now we're off to solving each equation. Remember, when you solve equations, you need to use your inverse operations, go backwards, and if it's a multi-step problem, we need to do reverse PEMDAS. These first couple equations should be nice and easy. I will put a lot of these easy questions on the test because we need to know how to do them. So we're going to go ahead and divide both sides by negative 13. Negative 13's cancel completely and you just have x. Let's just use the calculator to do this. 260 divided by negative 13. You get negative 20. Done. Easy peasy. Same exact process here. We're going to divide both sides by negative 12. If you don't need to use a calculator, then don't. Then negative 12's cancel. If you want to write the canceling in, you can. You can cross out all of them for all I care. 84 over negative 12 is negative 7. After this, we have k minus negative 2 equals negative 6. We have a couple options here. In my opinion, the easiest way to do this is to remember that minus and negative means plus. So we're going to write one step of work there to remember that means plus. And then we're going to go ahead and subtract 2 on both sides of the equation. When we subtract 2 like this, you are able to do it vertically. Or we could do it like how I was showing in class to most students. If we have k plus 2, now we do minus 2 equals negative 6 minus 2. Again, the concept is either way, I want those negative 2's gone. I want to get k. Positive 2 minus 2 is nothing. That goes away. Either way, I get k equals negative 8. I do not care which way you do it as long as you do it right. Question 14. I can't stress enough how many students miss this problem because they don't notice this negative sign. That negative sign is a big deal. When you have a negative in front of x, there are two ways to approach the problem. The way I originally taught in class is to add x to both sides to make it positive. If I have negative x plus x, just like this negative 2 plus 2, boom, goes away. And now I just have 14 plus x equals 2. To get x by itself now, I'm going to go ahead and subtract 14 on both sides of the equation. When I subtract 14, I end up getting just x equals negative 12. Please note, because the average student tackles the problem differently, I'm going to go ahead and show you how the average student will tackle it in a way that could get you the right answer. They see this negative x over here and this positive 2, and they want to get the x by itself, so their first step is to subtract 2 on both sides, and they get 12 equals negative x, and then they circle the answer. That's not right. You have to remember, if 12 is the negative x, we have to move this guy to the other side to make it positive x, and move this guy to the other side to make it negative 12. If that didn't make sense to you, I'm going to write the 12 equals negative x again, this guy up there. If I multiply both sides by negative 1, just like this, then we can go ahead and say that negative 1 times 12 is negative 12, and negative x times negative 1 is positive 1. Oops, positive 1x. What am I writing? A little bit too tired for this, I guess. Either way, we get x equals negative 12 all the way around. Continuing on this page, we need to go ahead and subtract 16 on both sides. Note how I'm doing it vertically. You can do it vertically, horizontally. I don't care. Either way, v is equal to negative 11. That was a freebie. This next guy, another freebie. Divide both sides by negative 10. And you get negative 9 equals x. Easy peasy. Let's go on to the next page. So, questions start easier. and then they get harder eventually. So we need to add 4 to both sides on this problem. A equals negative 10 should be free points. Both sides divided by negative 14 here. Not a big deal. Again, use your calculator if need be. 210 divided by 14. When we do that, we get 15. Easy enough. And now we have our first question that requires us to do a little bit of extra effort. We have this 5 plus n over 9 is equal to 1. To do this problem, we need to put parentheses around this guy. And we need to remember that when you divide by a number, that means to undo it, we need to multiply. So the first thing we need to do is to multiply both sides by 9. If I multiply both sides by 9, on the left-hand side, my 9's cancel, and on the right-hand side, I just get 9. And because I'm running out of room, I'm going to write it over here. We got 5 plus n equals 9. And now I can just subtract 5 on both sides. I'm not going to show the work this time. You don't actually have to show the work if you don't want to. If you're comfortable just writing minus 5 on both sides, do it. If you don't need to, then don't. Because in class I taught these questions in so many different ways, I'm going to teach this number 14 another way I taught it in class, and that's the visual method. The visual method says that anything that is negative on one side is positive on the other, and vice versa. So I'm going to take this negative x, I'm going to move it to the right and make it positive x. I'm going to take that negative 2 and move it to the right and make it positive 2. And I get x equals 9. I like that method a lot better than the subtracting and adding on both sides, but I can't make you do it either way. Number 15, looks like we got some distributive property to take care of first. So we got 4 minus 32x equals 228. And now we have reverse PEMDAS. It's sometimes useful to remind yourself that that's a positive 4 there. So now we need to subtract 4 on both sides. We got negative 32, x equals 224. Then we just need to divide both sides by 32. I'm pretty sure that's going to give us 7. It is going to give us 7 in the negative if we divide both sides by negative 32. Again, use your calculator if you need to. Not a big deal. Number 16. This question's weird because we have r on separate sides of the equation, but it's not that big a deal. So we're going to go ahead and have 3r minus 28. We need to distribute that negative sign first, like we've been doing on quite a few tests. After that, we need to go ahead and move all the r's to one side and all the numbers to the other. So we're going to add 7r first to both sides. We're going to get 10r minus 28 equals 2. Now I'm going to add 28 to both sides. I'm running out of room, so I'm not going to show the work for that. If I add 28 here, the 28's gone and it becomes 30 on this side. And now I divide both sides by 10. Again, I'm sorry, I'm running out of room here. I get r equals 3. I'm going to write smaller on the next one so I don't run out of room. So on this guy, we have 3 multiplied by negative 6 is negative 18. 3 multiplied by negative 5 is negative 15n. Minus 6 minus 18n equals 9. After that, we need to add like terms on the left-hand side. So we're going to go ahead and do negative 18 minus 6, and that's negative 24. And negative 15n minus 18 is negative 33n equals 9. Now we need to do our reverse PEMDAS just like we've been doing. We're going to add 24 to both sides. Nine plus 24 is 33. Divide both sides by negative 33. And we get n equals negative 1. Easy peasy. Number 18, more distribution. Don't be afraid of it. Negative 4n minus 16n minus 48 equals 2n minus 8 minus 2n. We need to add like terms on both sides of the equation now. Negative 4n minus 16n is negative 20n minus 48. 2n minus 2n is 0. Let's just get negative 8 here. Add 48 to both sides. Negative 20n equals 40, and n equals negative 2. Number 19. Really, we should just use a calculator on this and not be afraid. It's not that big a deal. We're going to make it through. I know it looks scary, but we're going to survive. We're going to go ahead and distribute across the top. So we're going to go ahead and do 8 times 5 is negative 40 up there, divided by 3 times 2 is 6b. Again, I'm just distributing this negative 8 over 3 to this negative 8 over 3 to that, and I multiply across the top. 8 times 5 is 40, 3 times 2 is 6. After that, a negative times a negative is a positive. 8 times 7 is 56, 3 times 2 is 6, 284 over 9. Now, we're going to go ahead and do our bomb the denom method. That means we need to figure out the LCM of 6 and 9. So 6 and 9 are small enough numbers that we can easily figure out that 6 times 3 is 18, and 9 times 2 is also 18. So that 18 is our least common multiple. So we're going to multiply all these terms by 18. 18 multiplied by negative 40 over 6b plus 18 multiplied by 56 over 6 equals 18 times 284 over 9. After that, 18 over 6, that becomes 3. 18 over 6 is 3. 18 over 9 is 2. Three times negative 40 is negative 120b. 3 times 56, use a calculator for any of this that you need it for. It's not that big a deal. You get 168. 2 times 284, what's that going to be? 568. Now we want to subtract 168 on both sides, just like we've been doing all day long. 568 minus 168 is going to be exactly 400. Now we need to divide both sides by negative 120. You get b equals, and this guy here, we can divide both the top and the bottom by 40. So I'm going to go ahead and divide by 40 and divide by 40. 400 divided by 40 is 10. Negative 120 divided by 40 is negative 3. Please note, if you didn't want to do that, last step on the calculator, by hand, you can do it on the calculator. So let's review the calculator method. We're going to hit alpha, y equals, enter. And then we're going to go ahead and do 400, and then negative 120 on the bottom, and it will do the negative 10/3 for you. In fact, you could do a lot of this problem on the calculator. I'm going to go ahead and copy the question one more time and show you that if you're smart with your calculator, you can do a lot different work, but still the correct answer. But you really got to make sure you're using the calculator correctly, and then you got to remember some other things too. So we're going to treat it just like these problems up here, where we have to like add 28 to both sides, or add 24 to both sides, whatever. We're going to subtract 56 over 6 from both sides. If we subtract 56 over 6 from both sides, this is gone. We get negative 40 over 6b equals, and let's go ahead and like cheat, use our calculator, do all the fraction work for us. We're going to hit alpha, y equals, enter. 284 over 9 minus alpha, y equals, enter. Whoop, whoop. 56 over 6, and hit enter. And we get 200 over 9. And now, to get rid of fractions, when we're multiplying by a fraction, we have to multiply by the reciprocal. So we're going to multiply by negative 6 over 40, multiply by negative 6 over 40, cancels, and we get b equals 240, both divide into the same, and we can do our cross-canceling practice that we've been doing. So 240, both divide by 40. So we're going to divide by 40, divide by 40. 6 and 9 both divide by 3, divide by 3. 200 divided by 40 is 5. 9 divided by 3 is 3. Negative 6 divided by 3 is negative 2. 40 divided by 40 is 1. And b equals negative 10. Multiply across the top, thirds. Heck, if you wanted to, you could even continue and use the calculator to do the fraction reduction for you. So we're going to take that, and then we're going to hit multiply, alpha y equals enter. Oop. And then we're going to hit negative 6 over 40. And again, it will do the work for us. Please note, you do need to show at least one step of work on these questions for full credit. So I will expect you to show me some of that cross cancellation. But you can definitely use your calculator to check your work. The last 4 problems, back to much easier stuff. It's just review. Let's make sure we know our functions. It's just substitution again. We're going to take that 4 and replace it where the n is. G of 4 equals 4 squared minus 5. That's 16 minus 5. That's going to give us 11. I almost wrote 9. I don't know why. Jeez. After that, same thing. We're going to go g of negative 1 equals 4 times negative 1 plus 2. Replacing that x with a negative 1. Replacing that x with a negative 1. We get negative 2. This one's a little bit weird because we're replacing this n with a negative 3n, and this one's going to require us to be really careful with parentheses and thought process. So again, I replace that n with a negative 3n. That means negative 3n multiplied by negative 3n. That's what something squared means. So if I have negative 3 times negative 3, I get positive 9. N times n is n squared. And that's it. That's the whole question. Nice and fast. This last one, it says w of a equals a plus 2, and we want a of a minus 1. So replacing that a with an a minus 1 minus 2. And which is a minus 3. That's it. That was the whole question. Nice and simple. Alrighty guys, that's it for this review packet. Good luck on this test. And after you're done, you're going to have a great October break. So have a good one.